to communicate their ideas clearly, accurately, and vividly. Rhetorical devices enhance and emphasize ideas. No jargon or unnecessary words. Correct grammar used. Please help me welcome JR. He'll be talking about homeschooling.
At 5 minutes it would be green. At 6 would be amber. And at 7 would be red.
Fellow Toastmasters, I think we all have something about ourselves that's really weird and uncommon. And for me, it's always been the fact that I didn't go to school until I was 18. I was homeschooled all the way through middle school and high school. I want to talk about this not just because it's something that's kind of odd about me, but also because it's something that's growing in popularity. In 1999, only about 1.7% of school-age children were homeschooled. But in the past 14 years, that number has doubled to 3.4%. Now, why do parents homeschool? There are as many reasons as there are homeschooling families, but you can generally group them into a number of categories. First of all, there are those who have religious motivations. Especially in the South, it's common to have evangelicals who want to give their children more Bible-based education. Some families also believe they can simply do a better job than public schools can. Some of them just want to spend more time with their kids. And there are also some cases where children with really passionate hobbies, like a musical instrument or horseback riding, will decide to homeschool to make more time for their hobby. In my own experience, my parents had kind of a combination of all these factors. They were devout Catholics, which is part of the reason they decided to homeschool, but they also just weren't happy with South Carolina public schools. My mother noticed grammar corrections that the teacher was making that weren't really corrections at all, and my sister was being told that her math tests were okay because there was no right answer to a math problem.
Ooh.
Which, exactly, Kendra knows this as a teacher. So this wasn't exactly the best condition for my sisters. My parents decided to take them home. Now what does homeschooling entail? Again, there are a number of options. One option for those who want to stick to a more conventional pattern is to follow the same schedule as a public school, use the same textbooks, and take tests. And this is especially good for those who are taking perhaps a one-year hiatus due to medical problems, so they can jump right back into the public school afterwards. There's another extreme, which is usually known as unschooling. And this is kind of a new agey trend that started during the 70s. Instead of having your child follow a set curriculum with books and tests, you instead let them really do whatever they want to and let their own curiosity guide them. However, most parents find a middle ground in these two categories. They'll use a third party or curriculum to set their coursework, to grade tests, and decide their textbooks for them. And you can find curricula for really any niche. There are a lot of religious curricula. There are some that adhere to a classical pattern, some that are more science and technology based. There are many options. The biggest question with homeschooling is always, does it work? Now, any social science question will usually have a number of different answers, and this is no exception. Different studies give different results. One study in 1999 of South Carolina standardized testers showed that homeschoolers scored slightly better in verbal skills, but slightly worse in math skills. But other studies have come up with much stronger results. One study in 2008 showed that 12,000 homeschoolers scored on average 37 percentage points higher on standardized tests than conventionally schooled kids. Now, there are a number of confounding factors that could be at play here. For example, many people have pointed out that generally homeschooling parents are already much more dedicated to their children's education. So it could simply be a self-selecting process. But either way, there have been some very positive results shown. Let's talk about some of the advantages and disadvantages that I've noticed in my own personal experience. Not only was I homeschooled through middle school and high school, so I met a lot of my homeschooling peers in my local group, I also went to a very small conservative college that tended to attract a very high fraction of homeschooling students. So I've seen the gamut. First of all, one of the biggest perks of homeschooling is that it's self-paced. This allows students to spend more time on subjects which they find challenging, but move faster for those they find easier. And this is also helpful because in some ways, it's actually more similar to a college environment, where your professor will not be sitting you down and telling you when to study. Instead, you'll be receiving assignments, and it'll be your responsibility to complete them on time. Additionally, for students who might struggle with bullying or peer pressure, homeschooling is an outstanding way to avoid these issues. Now, there are a number of drawbacks as well. One thing I noticed is that, in my home state at least, homeschoolers had a very hard time participating in sports that public schools had. They also couldn't do ROTC. There also is the question of socialization, and this is a big one. And this is an area that's really can go either way. My family, I think, had a good idea in that they had us go to different homeschooling groups, for example, Toastmasters, where I met many friends who I still have today. And they also encouraged us to find jobs, which is helpful because you meet people who don't share the same background and values that you have. But I did see plenty of students at my college who didn't seem to have the experience and experienced instead crippling social anxiety, which really held them back. Then there's the parents. Obviously, homeschooling is only as good as the parents who are doing it. The worst case scenario that I've ever seen is in high school, we knew a family whose only textbook for science, math, reading was the Bible. And the parents believed that this was all they needed. Exactly. One of the funnier legacies of being homeschooled is a stereotype attached to it. A lot of times when I tell people that I was homeschooled my whole life, I'll get kind of surprised to answer, but you're so normal. So to end my speech, I want to give you a video I've always found really hilarious. It's from the movie Mean Girls. And it shows this stereotype pretty accurately.
What you're thinking? Homeschool kids are freaks.
XYLOCARP.
Or that we're weirdly religious or something.
And on a certain day, God created the ready-to-full action rifle so that man could fight the dinosaurs and the homosexuals. Amen.
We're laughing at this with Allison.
So on that note, thank you to all Toastmasters.
Awesome.
All right, great.
So that everyone knows that we have the new student joining us.
Thank you all.
His name's JR. Please give him a hearty welcome.
All right, that was a,
I don't know that I've ever done that, but I will now.
now at this point in time, we're going to move to table topics. And I'll be filling that role as a table topics master. So what I'll do is I'll just give a question. If you choose to accept it, then you speak your thoughts on that particular topic. And I'm going to start with Mark, because he's always, a lot of times, left out. Mark, this question is to you. Question to you is, if I could only accomplish one thing in my life, I would like to, I'll repeat that. If I could only accomplish one thing in my life, I would like to.
If I can only accomplish one thing in my life, I would like to ensure that all of my children are able to graduate from college. I think that's probably the best legacy that I could leave, is to have them all graduate from college, also without debt, so that they can hit the ground running and not be saddled with burdensome debt that sometimes is more than a house. It's unbelievable how much debt some of these college students are graduating with. Supposedly the average is $40,000. And that's I should say that's the median. So that's right in the middle. People, half the people owe more than that, half the people owe less than that. I would say the greatest thing I can do is to enable all of my children to graduate from college without debt. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Tammy. If you could be an animal, what would it be?
So I have became a dog person as I've gotten older. I know I've mentioned here a few times I have a little Macy that is my lovable little mutt at home and a really good dog. But if I could personally choose to be any animal, I would want to be a cat. I've always liked watching cats. They're funny, they're very curious, they have lots of energy, and then they lay around all day. And they just kind of do their own thing. Anyone that's ever had a cat knows that. You may have a lovable cat, you may have a mean cat, but they just do their own thing and they'll love on you when they want it. They're going to let you know if they need something by the meow meow. All night long sometimes. They're sweet, they're cute, I think they're pretty. So if I could be any animal, I would be a cat.
Very good.
Awesome.
All right, well, this question is for. Say your name again.
Heather.
Heather, right, thank you, Heather. All right, Heather, do you think professional athletes are overpaid?
Fellow Toastmasters, I don't really think about professional athletes and their pay a lot, but I don't think they're overpaid because, like, they work really, really, really hard to attain their skill level, and it's not like easy at all what they do. So it's kind of like being a movie star, I guess. Like, only a few people can be, or you know, a few compared to how many are in the actual world. So, and they get paid a ton. And professional athletes, I guess it's not really important that they do a great job playing sports and everything, but it's kind of like morale, or related to morale, and they do work really hard for it, and so it doesn't make sense to me that they can't get paid a lot. I never really thought a lot about it, but to me, professional athletes, I guess, get paid a fair amount for how much they work, because you have to think about like how they start from childhood, and the ones that actually make it, you know, they work every day, and it's like their dream, like they die for it, you know, every day, and so they pretty much earn it, in my opinion. So I don't think that they get overpaid, all in all, but I don't really know everything behind it. Mr.
Interesting perspective. I almost hit you with my eraser.
These guys make a lot of money, that's true. But a lot of them end up being prodigal sons, and they end up wasting a lot of that money. All right. Next question is from Maurice.
Okay.
Maurice, what is your
Gotta
most
get one.
prized possession?
Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters, what is my favorite prized possession? My favorite prized possession is me. I'll give another. Can't really think of one off the top of my head besides the house. I guess. So my favorite prized possession is the house. I used to collect coins when I was a kid. I used to collect different things when I was a kid, but as I grew older and things get lost or stolen, I put less of my pride in those things. So therefore, Well, also since I quit my job and kind of downsized my lifestyle a little bit and started decluttering my house of things that I used to cherish to a certain extent. Considering all that, me not putting so much pride in possessions and downsizing my lifestyle, my most prized possession is my house.
Okay.
Topic master.
All right, it's better to be in the house than on the street. Very good.
Yeah.
All right. Kira, this question's for you.
Oh, great. You're going to give me something I don't know anything about, are you?
Watch this. What excites you?
Hey, what excites me? What excites me, I think, is being around a bunch of people who are excited and friendly and happy. I enjoy that quite a bit. I guess that's why I'm here at this meeting. I actually like being around people, even though I don't do it very much. Maybe that's because maybe that's why I became a teacher. I like being around curious minds. I like being around people who enjoy learning and people who enjoy discovering new things. And I feel like I'm most valuable as a teacher. Why is that light yellow? And I feel like I'm most valuable as a teacher. However, right now I'm teaching in a school full of, to put it nicely or gently, juvenile delinquents, just a bunch of worthless prodigals. And maybe I shouldn't have said that, but I shouldn't have said that. But they give me that impression sometimes. They're probably kids who've had really, really hard lives, and they're not, verbal pause, by the way, whoever's marking that, that's me. Anyway, the kids, they give me the impression that they're not really that grateful for things. And I like being creative, it excites me. I like thinking I can teach people new things, but I've learned from working at that school that everybody doesn't seem to think like that. Or maybe the light bulb just isn't on. I tell myself every day that I hope that's the problem. I hope the light bulb just isn't on. And I hope one day I'm going to walk into that classroom, tell my same story, do my same routine, and they're going to be like, I think this woman knows some things that will help us when we get older. So we should listen to her. Red light.
All right, man. All right, thank you, Ken.
Let's see if they can count four on
Sound like you get excited about hope. Very good. What's your name?
Davis.
Davis.
Yes, sir.
Would you like to participate? Sure. Okay, great. My question to you is, if you were an author, what would you write about?
What are my guidelines? What do the lights mean and everything?
Okay. Green is you made it to a minute. Yellow means you're a minute and a half. Red means you're at the end 2 minutes.
What's my goal here?
To get to green first.
Oh, yeah.
1 to 2 minutes.
All right.
Yeah, stop between green and red.
Okay.
Well, thank you.
The question is, if you want an author, you need to write about.
All right, everybody. I'm clearly new to Toastmasters, and I appreciate y'all welcoming me like y'all have. It's funny that that's my question, because I thought I could relate to some of the questions you had asked earlier. And after my accident, it being just such a traumatic experience to me and everybody around me, I have what's called a Caring Bridge page. And I don't know if any of y'all have ever heard of Caring Bridge, but it's a website where, say if somebody has cancer and they're going through their treatments and everything, you can keep up with their progress. And whoever is the head of the site can give you a daily, just what's happening to them daily. And so from when I was in the hospital, I think my page was started October 6th, and my accident happened on the 5th. And now my Caring Bridge page has over 500,000 followers, I believe. And I've had tons, I mean hundreds of requests to write a book. So, as an 18-year-old, I'm writing a book. Do I know what it's exactly on? Not necessarily. I'm just writing about my experiences and how I've gotten through this accident that should have ended my life.
Congratulations.
So, I don't know what kind of audience it's going to go to. I don't know who's going to want to read about my experience. But I just know from all the requests I've gotten and from having over 500,000 followers after my accident, I figured the least I could do was write a book and let them know what my life has been like after such a traumatic experience in which I should have lost my life. So, thank you all.
Awesome. Outstanding, exactly. Good choice of words. Can I put a check mark by you for that?
500 followers at $1 a piece, you would definitely not be a product consumer. So you look for $1 a piece. All right, good work. Everybody participated, did a great job. Now we're going to move into the evaluation portion of the meeting. We'll be led by our lead evaluator, which will be our general evaluator, Maurice.
Fellow Toastmasters, the meeting started on time. I don't think we had any business. We had a little business to go over, which was whatever in that package right there, which we taken care of at the end of the meeting. And I also observed that the lectern was not unoccupied for any amount of time since the meeting started. I will now go into the evaluation of JR's speech. And the title of his speech was Homeschooling, and it's project number 4, How to Say It. And I was evaluated by going through the checklist that's given under project number 4. Number 1, was the speech topic appropriate for this particular assignment? I checked excellent. Did the speaker use simple, short, and clear words? Excellent. Did the speaker use vivid, descriptive words that created mental images? Excellent. Did the speaker use words that had more than one meaning or were inaccurate? I put excellent, meaning that he didn't use words that were inaccurate. Were the speaker's sentences short, simple, and understandable? Yes, excellent. Did the speaker use rhetorical devices to enhance his or her ideas? Yes, so I put excellent there. Did the speaker avoid jargon and unnecessary words? Yes, he did, so I put excellent. Did the speaker use proper grammar and pronunciation? Yes, so I put a check under excellent. Was the speech purpose clear? Yes. Was the speech effectively organized? Yes. What could the speaker have done differently to make the speech more effective? I just said could have used some more expressive hand gestures at certain points, just to give more spice to the speech. And what did you like about the speech? It was clear and gave the audience various perspectives on homeschooling, homeschoolers, and the homeschooled. So that is the evaluation for JR's speech. Now we have the evaluation for Lois's speech. And
I actually just filled in and
Okay.
that's okay. Thank you. Okay. I thought Lois's speech was great, independent, organic thinking. A few of the things that she mentioned, especially the it's actually a Bible verse, but people twist it. It says the love of money is the root of all evil, and then people twist that and paraphrase it and change it into something else and say money is the root of all evil. And it always irks me when I hear people say that. So I thought it was great that you mentioned that. But I'm just going to go down the rating scale here. The general purpose of this speech was clear, very much so. So was the specific purpose of the speech. You touched back on it at every point. You began it saying that you were going to give some examples at the end. You summed it up and everything, so I thought it was great. So 5s for those. The speech organization supported the speech's specific purpose. Again, a 5. The main points and supporting material contributed to the speech's specific purpose. 5. The beginning, body, and conclusion reinforced the specific purpose. I heard you mention that you were 52 years old. What a surprise.
Yay me.
That was interesting. You definitely look younger than that. The speaker achieved the specific purpose. 5. The speaker appeared confident and sincere with minimal nervousness. I said 3 on that. I think you're really good about making eye contact. As someone in the audience, I look at people's eyes, but when I'm standing up here, it's very difficult for me to do that. So I noticed that you were looking at me a lot, but sometimes you started, and I do the same thing, you jumble a little bit when you're getting nervous and your voice changes, and like we were talking about earlier, it's just part of what we do. But also the speaker did not rely on notes throughout the speech. If you had any, I didn't know you did. Again, you kept eye contact, you weren't really like looking down or reading anything. What could the speaker have done differently to make the speech more effective? Like I just mentioned, the middle was a little jumbled, but still overall I thought it was really good. What did I like about the presentation? I like that you gave specific things that we've all heard, like the quote, and then also at the end when you were talking about the person that quoted the scripture but didn't live it out. I think we've all contacted that person at some point in our life, and it's very confusing. I'm a Christian, so I don't like it when people do that. And then even if I wasn't, I would be like, okay, this is not what you're trying to portray. So I thought it was great, and I really enjoyed it.
Okay, at this time, we'll have the grammarians report, and that'll be Kendra Brooks.
So first of all, I'll start with me. I said I used verbal pauses about 5 times, and I used the word of the day once. Maurice used verbal pauses about 3 times in his general intro. Julius used verbal pauses too many times to count in his intro. Well, I didn't count them. Maurice, when he was doing his, Lois, when she was doing her speech, and I just used another one, so I'll mark myself for 6. Lois, when she was doing her speech, there was one stammer. I think she used the word of the day once. Am I correct?
No.
Oh, well, I gave you a point for no reason. I gave you a point for no reason. I heard some stammers and but used as verbal pause. I heard somebody say laced in instead of laced with. Heather, I heard her use verbal pauses like and so, like and so. Let's see, like was 4 times, you know was 3 times, and it twice as a slip. Tammy, on her, that's another one for me. If I could be any animal, that's another one for me. One slip when she was talking about wanting to be a cat. JR, you did good. I think you used the word of the day once. I am giving people points everywhere. I'm imagining things. Anyway, and I think you had like 3 verbal pauses. There was one I wasn't sure about, but so 2 or 3 verbal pauses. And let's see, did I leave anyone else? Davis, our newcomer, I think you used the word of the day once. Am I right?
May have, I don't think so.
I'm really imagining people saying this stuff. If I did this as a teacher, I'd be fired. Anyway, I mean, if I did this for my students, oh, you got an A on that. I didn't even do that, ma'am. loved your speech on nuclear fusion. I didn't give a speech on Tuesday. So anyway, Davis, 2 ums, and I think that's it. Did I leave anyone out?
I think I said what are there a few times.
Yeah.
Huh?
You did at least twice.
Oh,
Maybe the board doc.
oh, somebody said whatsoever. Whatsoever, not whatsoever, but whatsoever. It was a slip. So, and what did you say? What did you say? You said.
I just said use the word today a few times.
Oh, you used the word, and I didn't even. Oh yeah, I did. I put a P by you, but I only put it once. I have no idea why. You probably used it way more than once. Anyway, I need to get better at that. Thank you.
All right, very good, very good.
I was so critical, I didn't see any of the positive.
Next, we'll have the timers report with Heather.
JR's speech was 6 minutes and 37 seconds. Lewis's speech was 7 minutes and 40 seconds. And for the table topics, Mark's table topic was 1 minute and 18 seconds. Tammy was 47 seconds. I was 1 minute and 25 seconds. Maurice was 1 minute and 34 seconds. Kendra was 2 minutes and 5 seconds. And Davis was 1 minute and 40 seconds.
And
Why am I
I
clapping for me?
believe that concludes the evaluation.
Okay. All right, that's a good evaluation. So evaluation's always important, so we can continue to grow and improve. We need to receive some feedback. At this time, we have a spot open for an educational overview. Does anybody have anything that they want to speak about? Mark, anything for educational overview?
Nothing to add.
I came across something that I thought was kind of interesting, if no one else had anything. When I get the emails from the, can I start here?
Okay, no, I'm just saying, just you speak to us as a group, or you want to have a question, or what is it?
No, just something that kind of falls under education.
Come on up. Oh, tell me, go
What? Okay, thank you. Thank you. I'm filling roles I was unprepared for. Okay, we're just gonna roll with it. I found out today when I checked my email for Easy Speak, when I was, you get the email that says, do you accept this role and are you gonna be there or not? And sometimes I do it on my phone or laptop or anything, but today when I did it, I thought it was neat because there is a mobile option for it, and I have an Android, so I don't know if it's just different phones or what, but there was 3 little tabs at the top. One was agenda, one was timer, and when I clicked on the timer, it was really neat because it actually had each person that was on the agenda, and I was trying it with Heather, but I was fooling with it a little bit, so I was trying to help you out, but I just thought it was kind of neat. So like if you were the timer at some point, it's such an easy way, because then I don't know if you guys can see my phone or not, but it actually has each role, even the invocation and pledge, and then you click on the little timer, and then you can start it, and then it will save it on there. Because I did it for someone for just a couple of minutes, so at the end you don't even have to write it down or anything. So just something kind of neat. So next time I'm timer, I'm definitely going to use it. But I think there's actually an app for it as well. I'm not sure, but that's all I was going to say.
Always good to learn something new. Very good.
Thank you.
We'd like to hear from Davis. What's your take on the meeting tonight?
You want me to go there?
You can.
Like hopefully you all know now, I'm just looking to better my speaking skills, because I didn't mention before, and I probably should have, but I have, since probably 6th or 7th grade, I've followed a man who y'all may have heard from. His name is Eric Thomas, and he grew up homeless on the streets of Detroit. He walked out of his parents' house when he was 17 years old, and he stood in the front yard while all his neighbors were watching and said, F you to his mom and dad. And yeah, it was not a good relationship. And he didn't talk to his mother, who he adored, for 3 or 4 years. And from there, he found his way to a church where he found a girlfriend, and then he found his way to Oakwood College in Huntsville. And then from there, he went to Michigan State and worked at Michigan State because he grew up in Detroit, so Michigan State is his home. His English home. And he's pursued speaking from there. And now he has just recently, in the last few months, gotten his PhD. And so that is one speaker I've fallen in love with and followed. And another who I just recently have followed, his name is Brandon May. I don't know if any of y'all have heard of him. He's from Mobile, and I'm lucky, more lucky than I can explain for that. He went to Davidson. He was a football star at Davidson. He then, because Alabama and Auburn did not recruit him, he went to Clemson because they did recruit him. And he played 4 years at Clemson. He was redshirted his freshman season, even though he was good enough not to be redshirted. He just got injured. From there, he went to Mississippi State to play his last year. And he was going to the NFL. He grew up telling his parents that once I make it in the NFL, you'll never have to work again a day in your life. So he grew up with this dream, telling everybody he knew, telling his family, everybody. And he grew up with gunshots here and every night, going to sleep, and not a good situation. But he grew up telling everybody this, and he eventually made it to, I believe it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers training camp for all their prospects, because he thought he was going to get drafted, and he did not get drafted. But he was one of, if not the first, couple of free agents picked up after the draft. And he went to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I believe, their training camp. And they found they're having their physical evaluations done, and he turned this into a new speech, but he noticed that he had 4 people evaluating him medically when everybody else just had 1. And so he thought, this is a problem. And that day he learned that he had a problem with his Achilles that ended his NFL dream that he had grown up telling everybody about since he was 4 years old. So from there, he's turned to speaking. He's now a motivational speaker, and that's what Eric Thomas is. And I have, Brandon, you can go look him up on YouTube. He came to my house one night, surprised me. I had no idea he was coming. And I actually just texted him earlier tonight saying I was coming to this. He's a good friend of mine. I love Brandon, and I love Eric. And Dr. Kevin Elko, I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he's an accomplished motivational speaker. He's probably the first one worldwide that made it big time as a speaker. He's a good friend of mine too. So since my accident, I've been blessed with the people I've come into contact with. So knowing them and finding out my verbal skills were so good this summer, I took the test. It ranges from people from 18 years old to 33 years, I believe. And I learned that my verbal skills were in the 99th to the 100th percentile.
Awesome.
So I'm really thinking, before my math skills were so good, so I was thinking about pursuing engineering or something like that for my career. And now, after knowing my verbal skills and stuff like that, I'm thinking I might go with speaking after knowing all these speakers and all this. So I think this might just be my first step.
Right, absolutely.
Thank y'all.
Excellent, very good.
Outstanding. Maybe you found your calling.
Right, definitely. A lot of great speakers have started here at Toastmasters, and they always recommend coming to Toastmasters. So, an opportunity to get to speak, take advantage of it. Mark, what does the agenda look like for next week?
Next week, we have Kedrick as our Toastmaster. We have our rescheduled Kendra to give her speech, the second speech. Are you going to be able to get that speech, Kendra?
I'm hoping so. I've been sort of busy. I was sort of busy last week, and I just put it on the back burner and didn't think about it. Sorry.
Okay, well, if you can put it on the front burner for
I'll try not to let it boil over, sir.
Okay, all right. And then we've got John Beecham, who I think this will probably be his last appearance in the club. But we've got him scheduled to give a speech. Julius, you'll be the general evaluator. And Woody will do table topics.
Okay, thank you. Anything else for the good of the order? If not, meeting adjourned. Thanks for coming out.
No.
You.